Morning, everyone. This is a art journal flip through. I just finished this insert, or I finished it as much as I'm going to. This is my Traveler's Company Traveler's Notebook. I am going to work in another one of these inserts simply because it holds wet media so well. It is the grid, the regular grid insert from Traveler's Company. The other option I've thought about is making one of my own, but so far this one has lasted me a long time. So I'm not overly concerned at this point about the cost, but if I can find a good paper that I want to use to make one, then I might do that. So it started out more of abstract collage, like the other little books that I do, and quickly evolved. There's some writing in the background. It originally started as a tarot journal, and I've kind of discovered that while I like making art in my traveler's notebook, it is not conducive to my writing practice. I don't like having to unclip it and to have it lay open flat. I want a notebook that will lay flat. So that's where I am. Some of these pages are pages I went back and did later. I think I added or covered this page up. I don't know. I know I went back and forth a little bit on the pages, and I added to things if I went back and saw something and it didn't seem like it was done. I played a lot in this journal, which is something that I really liked. I think the relatively low cost of the Traveler's Notebook inserts, I think they're $6. I don't know, it made me feel like it was low risk, but I really like working with grid paper. A lot of my zines are done on grid paper when I have it available for that reason. So this is the background. Is from when I first saw Snail. I drew or painted in the background with some new watercolors and some other paper patterns, and then slowly added to it. This is part of why I call this a sketchbook. It is more experimenting with shapes and drawing and painting and collaging, and every once in a while I add words, either found words or I write words in. I started getting to the point where I was cutting up a lot of my old artwork as well. So I really like how some of these end up textured, and the patterns get really intricate and layered, in my opinion, especially because some of the pieces of artwork are pieces that I painted and collaged on, and then I cut it up. This is one that I went back and did because this was originally a illustration I was working on, and I wasn't entirely satisfied. I did a good job practicing with the hands, I felt. Ultimately, I like the way her face turned out, but it was a woman wrapped in a shawl. It felt really awkward, but I still wanted to have the face included, and that was something that I struggled with on this page because I have done a lot of abstract shapes, and it's do I really want to have these realistic elements, or do I want to keep it totally abstract? And kind of what I decided is that I want to do whatever feels right for the page that I'm on, and I don't want to set rules, which is a huge theme in my work. I'm sure you guys know. Here, this is one of my favorite things to draw, these little teddy bears. I really experimented with all the watercolors and stuff that I have, as well as I got the neon paint markers and Tombow markers. And I really wanted to just get and produce a lot of layers, and that's why I really like the Traveler's Company inserts, because I definitely just went super heavy. And when I'm all done, I will actually take this out because I do think it is falling apart. But it's just an insert, so I'm kind of okay with that. I've also been thinking about taking some of these out and using them to scan in, like scanning them in to create a zine from them. I wanted to know what you guys thought of that. I'd really like a way to share this work. I like zines because they are accessible. This is a spread that I did in reflection of like what's going on in Gaza and just caring for myself, but also trying to stay engaged. It is a huge aspect of my self-care and my sobriety, making sure that I don't become apathetic and like dissociating from what's going on in the world around me, because I did that for a really long time in my life, and it's important for me to not do that anymore, and that's part of my own recovery. I've got some peppermint tea. The allergies are hitting very rough these days because spring is springing outside. You can probably hear the birds because I'm on the second level of the house today where my new office is. This is the Wild Artist Heart map that I made for Iridescent Explorations, which is the zine I posted for free on Substack. I think now it's only available for paid members because after so many weeks, the posts get archived. So let me know in the comments if you would be interested in a zine of some of these pages. I might wait until I finish another insert before I actually like start to take it apart and do that. But I kind of like the idea. I don't know what size I could do that in where this would like fit. I'll have to take some measurements. Might be like a zine that I definitely have to like put together and kind of. And so I've like kind of gone back and forth because I want to get like a square sketchbook or something that's not quite so tall to make it easier and to commemorate some of my favorite spreads from these books. But I just really like having it here. And I have this traveler's notebook. I got the blue one. And I just love it so much. I've always been a huge fan of the traveler's notebooks, but as like my writing practice, it doesn't really work for it. And I really like having this in here. I have to have the pages clipped open anyway so they don't curl. So like it doesn't really bother me. I started including the clear part of some of these envelopes I've been ripping up for some texture. I love it here. It's right on the crease. And this word here, the words here says it doesn't beg to be anything. And it's like I've written about it on Substack a little bit, but reflecting on the art practice and like, I think society, like, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I feel constantly feeling like I need to contribute in some way. And by doing that, I'm trying to like take my art and make something out of it. Just to like feel like I'm adding something like financially, because, you know, I know everybody is kind of struggling right now. We've had a lot of medical emergencies in my family that have led to us paying like lots and lots of medical debt. Not as much as some people. We are fortunate enough and privileged enough that we have health insurance. But here's a part of a canvas that I cut up. I started ripping up my old paintings and cutting them up. And so I kept looking at this book and it's like, what can I turn it into? How can I turn this into a commodity? And I know I just got done talking about turning it into a zine, but one of my dreams is to actually like create an art book of my art and have a book out in the world. And so I think it's more asking questions of like what feels generative for me, and not being focused on like making money. And I think that's where I offer myself some grace when it comes to these things, because, you know, the world at this point does operate on money. So, you know, I can't, if there's something I want to share, it's not something that I can bear the brunt of, like financially, but I can do what I can do, and I can share here, and I can share on my Substack and write about it, which is like the main thing I do is I write reflections about my art practice and my tarot practice, and it feels really generative over there. It feels really peaceful because it's just a lot. I think this is my favorite spread. Just a side note. I love how messy it is. But I wrote, it doesn't beg to be anything, because like literally this book is such an accomplishment in itself. And I want to remind everyone of that. Like every little book that you make, every spread that you make, the 5 minutes you take to make some marks on a page, all of that counts. All of that is movement in the right direction. And that is the direction of self-care and wholeness. And I think it's important to remember that, especially as we continue staring down the barrel of capitalism and being told that anything we do simply for pleasure, I don't know about you all, but the narrative that I kind of have taken in subconsciously is that anything done for pleasure is selfish. And it's not. You know, we are here meant to experience, meant to engage in the world and like just be human. And creating is a part of being human. So I would love to hear in the comments also about what makes you feel human. What do you do that is just for you? And how can you show up creatively for yourself today? I didn't do these last pages. Number one, I already, the wet media I used in this last spread ripped through a little bit. I was also excited to film this and share with you guys. So I think this is it. And now I want to just take it out real quick and look and see how this is held up, because these are staple bound books. And it's still in one piece. I know there's a couple pages that almost came out, and I use glue on my washi tape to like kind of help it stick together. But man, I don't know, guys. I love this so much. This practice has been amazing for me. And it has been like super low energy. Show up as much time and energy as you have, and just layer and layer and layer, and lots of colors. And it allows me to like, when I make like works on paper, I can go back and cut them up, because like I don't always want to sell stuff, you know. And I'm using these envelopes and some of the canvas papers. This is some old packaging I painted on. And I'm really happy with it. And I'm excited that I got to share it with you guys. Like I said, I think this is my favorite spread, but I love them all so much. And I can tell I use some ink below here. The other practice I did with this is just letting go and not holding on to any mark or any layer that I make. And I think that doing things that has lots of layers like this can really help us practice that. All right, I hope that you guys have a creative day today. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I posted on Instagram that zines are currently up for trade, and I restocked some physical zines in my shop, so go check that out. I will see y'all on Substack later this week. Okay, bye.